All right, let's do this. So yeah, we watched the Nora. There's a little bit mixed reviews. The first half was really good, and then we just felt like it was a bunch of fluff added to the second part that wasn't really giving any value. What did you think?
See, you know what's funny? I didn't know what to expect going in. I thought it was gonna be like a love story between like a prostitute and some rich guy, which wasn't exciting for me.
Yeah,
And then when the story sort of like moved in the way that it did, it was intriguing. You kind of leaned it and you're just like, okay, where is this gonna go? The beats that were funny were definitely very funny, but as the movie ended, you're kind of just like, huh, I guess this is supposed to happen. Like it ended in a way that was like realistically expected, but you didn't know how the movie was gonna take it. But I thought it was good enough to get, you know, the reaction it did. Maybe
yeah.
not an Oscar nomination, but it was definitely it was definitely good enough to be like, okay, like I wasn't like disappointed with how
I
everything.
yeah, I thought the ending was really good because it shows how she like all of her life she had control over men, and then she realized that she tried to get back into control mode, but she realized like, what am I doing? And that's how like she starts crying, right?
Yeah.
So like the half of the
Wait,
movie's really good, and then the ending is good, but like the movie Anora, it's called.
is that the one with Nicole Kidman?
No,
No, that's
this is
Baby Girl.
the yeah,
No.
this is just a new act. Well, she's fairly new. Um, but yeah, it was like it's good. The ending is good, but then the middle part is like it just didn't know what to do with it, I guess.
Yeah. See, and
Um,
I kind of just thought like in terms of realism, right? Because again, you don't want something to be this like idealistic version of what life is, especially for a profession that isn't as ideal, right? So like when you go and watching it, your mentality isn't just like, oh, like if they end up together, if they end up happy, I don't feel like I'm really getting anything from that. It's not gonna be like we should treat strippers with respect. Like I don't think that was the that
yeah,
was the theme you wanted to walk away from. So like when she ended up like, where she did, I was just like, yeah, like you kind of, you know, put yourself in that position. The position turned out the way it needed to be. Everything turned out the way it's supposed to. So I thought it was good. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so I do have something. To well, one thing I thought about it this week, and it might be a good idea to every session, uh, at least one of us show something they created or made or like some progress into like your brand or whatever you're trying to do. So I just want to share something I did this week that I'm very excited about. Let's see. Share. Okay. So you guys probably heard about AI and AI agents. Um, so I've been hearing about a lot about AI agents. So I decided to give it a try and create my own agent. So I want to explain what it is and what it does, and hopefully, like every week, someone can show something that it's moving the needle forward. So this is so an agent. Have you do you guys use like AI during in your lives, like ChatGPT and shit?
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Um, so the difference between ChatGPT and AI agent is that you it can decide by itself what to do next, like a second step and a third step and a fourth step, depending on what you want the agent to do. So basically, I created an agent to re you just give the name of a company and it will research um everything about that company and like recent news um in several steps. So it's really four steps. So I'm just gonna type because Fallout works there. So I'm just gonna type Texas Instruments. So as soon as I click research, the first step is gonna generate queries. Queries is like something you would type on Google. So let's say Texas Instruments, revenue of 2024, Texas Instruments, a bunch of different things to search about Texas Instruments, not only on Google, right? So it generated five queries, and then with those five queries, those queries, it asked ChatGPT to generate five queries, and then with those queries, it used the tool to search the web. So it's like if you sit down in your desk and start researching things about this company. So it's like, uh, who are their competitors? Who are uh, the revenue? What products do they build? So you just type in Text Instruments products and you click enter. So it automatically searching the web for that. And then the next step is from those searches, the results, it's extracting the information from the websites it found. And then once it has all that information, it's reflecting on what it extracted and see if there's missing information. So right now it found it in this reflection step, it identified that um, it's missing some of the information I'm hoping to find. So it's right now it's reflecting. If you see here, it's still taking some time. It's reflecting. So it found that it's missing information. So it's searching the web again. So it's doing Google searches again until it finds all the information I want. I told the agent to collect. So it's still missing some information here. And once it finishes, hopefully in a minute or two, it will just show all the information it collected and when like relevant links to the websites that it found. And oh, okay, it's done. So this is the final result. So it found the company when it was founded, where it's headquartered, the revenue, the description, the products this company makes, the biggest competitors, the executives, who is the CEO, who is the CFO, who is the CTO, and then at the bottom, like recent news and with the link to go and go look at it. So if I click on one of those, it will just show the website it found. Um, and my mind was blown when I finally finished this, and it it it's just an example of what an AI agent can do. And I just wanted to show you guys. So because this is if you see these little boxes, that's what I told them. Told the agent I'm interested in. So if I type something else, um, if I want to know something that's not this, it won't tell me. So I told the agent to get this information. Um, so if you guys find any ideas to like other like this is just the company as a like starting point, but oh, I want to find out I don't know. I mean, another example is like travel agencies, like give me all the restaurants near my hotel and research and are there any tables available? And like it can just you just give it a task and it will just do all the work for you and go in the on the web and search and Google and do all this stuff. And it will just return a report of whatever you're looking for. Um, so that's what a AI agent is, basically. and it can do any number of things after this. So what do you guys think?
I think it's cool. I think it kind of the idea of AI is to simplify things. I think it definitely does that. Like it definitely simplifies searching through Google. Because I know Google has its own AI agent,
Yeah,
but the thing is with the Google AI agent, it's more so based off like here is a summary of what your question was, or maybe phrasing was based off of things found. So it definitely simplifies that. And I like this one because essentially, like if you are looking at competitiveness, right? Like competitors from company standpoint, it kind of just simplifies that aspect of, hey, I have to go through cipher through pages and pages to find these things out. I just have uh everything kind of generalized right in front. So I think it does like a good job of like what AI tool is supposed to do. So yeah, this is really cool.
yeah.
So like how far would you want this to expand? Because like obviously, not even just company research. I feel like the simplicity of this tool could be expanded towards a lot of different things. Like, like I'm like my assumption would be, you know, uh you type someone's name, right? Like a public figure or something, and it gives you more or less just like the highest target news sources from obviously their profile, obviously, you know, uh, whatever again, whatever they're linked to, if they're like a CEO of a company or if they're, you know, just an influential figure, like how far would you want that to go into detail? Because obviously a lot of information is on the internet.
Yeah,
And if it was simplified like this, like let's say you looked up like, I don't know, like Mike Tyson, like
yeah.
what kind of information do you think it would want to generate based off of that? Like would it just be Wikipedia or would it just be, you know, more in detail based off of every internet accessible thing that is on Mike Tyson?
Yeah, so to answer that question is two sides of the question is the Mike Tyson specific thing is basically what are you trying to what are you trying to accomplish? So this tool, this AI agent is really for someone that spends a lot of time. So any business, you're trying to save time, save money. So if it does both, you're great. So you need my next point and to really find the value is to understand industries, a position, a job where someone is Googling a lot of stuff
Mm-hmm.
and or uh, have to do a lot of steps in the internet to accomplish something. So
Yeah.
you can just create something for, I don't know, healthcare or I don't know, maybe police trying to investigate stuff. So instead of for lawyers, maybe lawyers, instead of like trying to read things all over the internet, just like I want to find everything you can about this thing, and
Mm-hmm.
specifically, I just need this, this, and this, and this.
Yeah.
Instead of like Googling yourself and opening a Google Doc and copy pasting and going back and forth and researching more stuff, this can just do it all at a click of a button, and like 5 minutes or 3 minutes later, you have everything you need. Um, but yeah, that's something I built. This is really, I need to, yeah, just, I could add more things, but I'm gonna stop there because there's really no value spending more time in it. But finding people that can s- uh, find value in it and hopefully get a client or two here. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be the next step to get into this. But yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to show, and hopefully, like every week, we can at least one of us can show something that we made or created or trying to again push progress with what we're trying to do. Um, But yeah, apart from that, that's pretty much it. And next week, Wednesday, a friend of Follows got me a meeting with the Forward ISD director of technology, and probably, hopefully, I want to show this to them, and maybe they become my first client. So fingers crossed on that.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
100%.
but yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to share.
Okay, I think Femi was like dipping in and out. So let
Oh,
me.
and how's LA doing? Um, Still, I've heard there's still fires, right?
No, there is still fires. I mean, last week, I mean, these past 2 days, it's been raining. So, I mean, hopefully, that sort of like mitigates some of the, issues that's been going on. There was a big fire a couple days ago,
Yeah.
uh, more up north of me,
Okay,
but yeah, it hasn't been as bad as it was. So it's starting to look a bit better.
that's
Yeah.
good.
I find like especially like this past week in Los Angeles has been very interesting, mainly because the temperature of everything, I guess politically going on has sort of been a lot more mild because a lot of people aren't speaking their praises and appreciation of a certain president, but they're like secretively like, yo, I think that'd be good. But I don't want to say it because it's not going to be, the most PC thing to say to my friends. But, you just get like hints of people saying, like, oh, like, there's a certain thing happening soon. It's going to be good, but I don't like who's doing it type of energy.
Yeah. So that's the political feeling around you right now?
Yeah, yeah. Like it's weird because like honestly, most of my friends are gay, right?
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
just like just how the you know life kind of just happened. So when it comes to like the way they feel about a lot of things, a lot of them, almost all of them, are basically now swinging more Republican now.
Oh
Just based,
yeah?
yeah, which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the conversations I've been having with them, especially when it comes to like all the executive orders and all the uh, you know,
The speech when he said that there's only two genders, is
yeah.
that something they don't care about?
No,
Your friends?
what's funny? Like when you talk to gay people about the whole gender thing, like they are honestly not on the side of complete LGBTQ because most of the time they don't really understand the other abbreviations, right? Like
Yeah.
it's hard to really get a sense of what queer is, and like
Yeah.
transgender is its own separate category. So it's like they really don't have opinions on it. Obviously, they're pretty open minded, so they don't like, say like this is wrong or yada yada yada. But they're just like, that's not my fight. That's never been my fight. So I don't really know what point I can add to that. So
Right.
whenever someone says there's two genders, your mind is just like, you know, I mean, that doesn't affect, what happens with me and my boyfriend. So,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's like it's not a community. All the different letters, they're not like fighting together for something, and like everybody is just isolated in their own thing. Not isolated, but it's like their own thing. Um,
100%. Like, I
yeah.
remember I had a conversation, it was a while back ago with this, like, very, very liberal girl named Alexis. And I remember, because I obviously have my own feelings towards the whole transgender conversation. And she was trying to, I guess, sway me towards her side, right? Because I look like, one of those liberal guys that only fucks white chicks. So she was just like, no, you gotta stay on this side of the trail. And one
Yeah.
thing I was like telling her was, I agree with what you're saying, but my problem is when it comes down to your rhetoric is the fact that someone is supposed to be a pretty girl, not an ugly girl. You know, it's like if you identify as a girl, that doesn't mean you have to look hot, right? So when it comes down to getting all the surgery, it's basically just an opinion thing that you're trying to cape for of this idea that you have to align with this certain side just based off of what they're saying. You know, it's like you might not have, big tits, but just because you identify as a girl, now you're supposed to have like double D's. Like that's not anyone's,
Yeah,
prerogative. Like it's just this idea of wanting to be beautiful and wanting to be a pretty girl. Because my main argument when it comes to that is like Ellen DeGeneres always say, you can say you're a girl, right? But Ellen DeGeneres might look a certain way and she's still a girl. You don't want to look like Ellen DeGeneres. You want to look like Kim Kardashian, which is fine. But that's where the argument stops for me.
yeah. And well, apart from the all the gender stuff, anything else that the inauguration was sparked around you? Is
Yeah.
there hope? Is there hope? Is there what's like the general feeling?
Uh, a lot of conversations on DEI. Like a lot of my black friends, they're like very scared about it. Like I was talking to a buddy of mine, Demetrius, he was saying like, "Oh, Lua, you don't understand how bad DEI is because now companies can discriminate over small things, and they're worried about the small things being nitpicked, like certain hairstyles, certain, you know, um, political ideologies that can be iced out from the conversation, right? So if you don't share a company's core values, you could be, marginalized based off of that, and you cannot get any work. You know,
So how would you feel if you're like find out you're a actually DEI hire? Like, because it's the it's what I found out with the Harvard thing. What's the name of the I know when they give pos- they allow like Harvard allows I don't know a black kid with lower grades instead of just because they have to fill in a
yeah,
certain what's the
affirm-
name of that?
affirmative action.
Yeah, affirmative action. And I didn't even know that existed. Something I just didn't know about this country. That was a mandate by the Supreme Court, right? And then um they denied it, they canceled it, and it was my impression that you want the best people anywhere you go, right? But it's a tough debate because how are the lesser people with less opportunities growing up, how are they going to get ahead, right? So it's a very thin line of what's what's good for everyone, right? What's your take?
See, especially on the Harvard conversation, right? Like, when it comes to schools letting in a certain amount of people based off a certain, category they fit in, my philosophy is if you're the LeBron James of math, you're going to get into whatever school you want,
Yeah.
right? If LeBron James was white or Asian, he would still be LeBron James, you know? So obviously, you know, um, there are certain cases where people might exclude or include people based off of their own personal feelings. But no matter what the situation is, you're going to want the best, right? And in a situation where you want the best, I think the best will always triumph over this need for inclusion. If you're clearly the best, I don't think anyone's going to care if they actually want the best.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you have the like all this happened because there were some really pissed Asian kids not getting into Harvard with really high grades, right? And then they were giving those seats to other kids that they had to. Um, so if you're that kid, if you're the DI kid, like how do you like you're around all these geniuses and how are you going to perform? I don't know. It's difficult to really. uh see what's right and what's wrong, right?
Yeah.
Because I would imagine that that DEI kid would have a place somewhere else, not Harvard, and maybe thrive there. But and it's the same with in getting hired somewhere because it's just because of the DEI thing, right? Um, I've all of my life I've grown up where a situation where you just like study and do the things, and if you're good at it, you get by, you start progressing, right? I've never been in a situation where, oh no, this kid is gonna sit front row because he's we have to. Um, I've never been in that situation.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, because to me, I think a lot of those things only exist in certain niche circles. Like, obviously, like if you're working in a company, like I'm just assuming like a JP Morgan, and they already have this like uh frat culture of like we're a family, and you don't mold with that family no matter who you are, right? I think they're probably not going to hire you no matter how good you were at your last job. If you don't fit into the culture that they already have, it doesn't make sense for them to just have you on based off of, this idea that we need to look good, or, you know, you perform well, but no one here likes you because you're a dick,
yeah.
right? And I think there's only like so many cases of that exist, you know?
So, what would you vote for or against affirmative action? I mean, I don't want to put you in the spot, but
Yeah.
it's like it's so difficult to me to, yeah, you want to help kids that didn't have the best opportunities growing up, but also these Asian kids that they have the right to be pissed is like, why am I not getting in, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say about that?
Honestly, being black, you definitely see the advantage of affirmative action, right? But as someone who loves the meritocracy aspects of America, I gotta vote against, right? Because, like, again, to me, you just want to put yourself in the most strategic position to win, right? So when it comes to saying, oh, we need this and this so we can be the united colors of Benetton and have this rainbow of races, ethnicities, and, genders, to me, doesn't set you up for the best position to win, because it basically puts you in the position saying you can be swayed more by emotion rather than results, which isn't the most, you know, wealth generating thing when it comes to companies, net growth of trying to constantly improve, you know.
Okay, let me ask you this. Have you, an- any of you, have you ever been in a position that hustle and like skill wasn't enough to
Yeah,
to keep moving forward?
no, 100%.
Have you ever been in a position where like your own hustle wasn't enough?
Most definitely.
And what do you think, uh, what was the obstacle?
See, to me, I just think when it came to those positions, the only obstacle was just, you know, uh, personality connection, right? Like,
Okay,
it,
so it was a skill thing rather than like a soft skill thing.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
because,
okay,
because like your ability to have good conversation with people is definitely a skill, right?
yeah,
But when you're dealing with people that sort of see this like, one side brain mentality, and you're trying to think of a two-sided brain mentality, sometimes it's hard to meet in the middle when one side chooses not to, right?
yeah,
So although certain things might align, right? If one person isn't willing to meet in the middle when someone else is, you're going to be trying to cross this border of going all the way towards their side. And it's inevitably going to breed resentment, right? So in situations like that, it just didn't work because we just couldn't gel together. And that's fine. It's easy to be fake, but you can't be fake all the time, because eventually something's going to pop, and you're just gonna
yeah,
go right back to the person that you were.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
I was just gonna say same thing, personality. Also, I don't know if my camera's been cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. You're good.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I was gonna say, yeah, personality, and two, also like passion. Like I feel like you can work very hard at something, and yeah, your hustle and all that can show, I guess, through fruit. But it's just like if there's no passion in it, if you generally aren't excited about what you're hustling on, I think the product and I think the environment that you do it around is going to affect and reflect. So inevitably, it just will kind of turn sour, and you're just dropping it, or maybe the person that you're working with, a group of people that you're working with, there might be a disconnect because of lack of passion that's there. I think passion takes you for no passion gives you the ability to want to get up and do it. The hustle is just the actual work. So those things need to be in line. But I think for me, it was just lack of passion. Like for example, like I've worked like for companies that was like specifically sales based, and I would definitely, make sales and do those things, but I just wasn't passionate about the product I was selling.
Yeah,
And I think it would reflect in my work. So
right,
it's just
right.
like, yeah, I would sell, but in terms of being the best or in terms of potential, I think it was always staggered because I was just like, I'm not really in it. Like, I don't really see myself attached with what I'm hustling for. So,
But that is a good, in my experience, that is a good thing because that's a door you now know that it's not worth going through again. So, I mean, all the paths you go through life, and there's so many doors open, you open one, you get in there, it's like, I don't really care about this one. So you just keep going, and like now you know your limit, your thresholds of, yeah, I don't really care about that, and like why even try? So being in a because I ended up doing what I do because I was in a shitty job, not shitty, but it was a boring job, and all I wanted to do was code my app back in 2013. And all I wanted to do was like stop, get 5 p.m., go back to my apartment and keep coding keep doing what I was doing. And then one day I was like, why do I even have to go back to that place? I just quit and went back to Mexico and started my own company and started doing apps. And that led to where I am right now. So the bad
yeah.
situation just pushed me more into what I love to do. Um, so it's a good thing that you're in a bad, shitty situation because and also you're like daydreaming of, man, I wish I was doing this instead of this. So that's kind of you start finding your path that way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that's a great point that you made. Like, I think a lot of people, the thing that they always constantly think about versus the thing that they're actually doing is always so funny because I'm just like, why not just do that? Like, why not just do the thing that you're constantly thinking about?
Yep,
Because the thing that you're actually doing, although it could be lucrative, although it could be comfy, it could be all these things, it's like at the end of the day, it's going to reflect on your one performance, two, even just every single day outlook. Like when you would come back home and you say, I instantly wanted to work on my coding, that was your sense of just like, hey, like you putting the two together, like, man, why can't I just do this all the time versus
yeah,
just this time? Because I want to do this. I excited for doing this.
right,
Why should I just do it? Like, why can't I just put my whole foot in? And I think a lot of
yeah,
people kind of struggle with that, like the idea of doing something that you are actually feeling like you have a calling for.
for sure.
Hey, Chava, do you want to save this so we can load up another one? Because it's about to end in 2 minutes.
Yeah, let me.